Listen to part of a lecture in a business class. Business organizations.
Today we are going to discuss the formation and organization of businesses. One of the reasons I want you to understand about types of businesses is that nearly half of new businesses fail within the first 2 years. As business students, you will need to understand the formation of businesses to understand your role in the business world after you graduate from university. If you are an accounting major, you will need to know about businesses for different reasons than business students who continue on to study law. If you are thinking about getting a degree in marketing or management, you will need to have an understanding about the composition of the types of business organization you are working for. You will find there are various types of business organizations and that there are differences in each kind because of the different factors which must be thought about and which are important when forming a business organization. The primary considerations for deciding on the type of business are liability, taxes, and continuity. The three main types of businesses I want to talk to you about are the sole proprietorship, the partnership, and the corporation. The proprietorship is probably the simplest type of business organization. For example, if you enjoy gardening, like working with flowers and vegetables, and want to begin a business of your own without anyone else being involved, then a sole proprietorship is what you would probably consider. This type of business is very easy to form. All you need to do is find an open sign to hang on a door, and you're in business. You'll be the person making decisions about where you want to locate your business, what items you will sell, and how much you want to charge for items. Advertising and all methods of marketing your products will be your decision. You will decide hours of operation, whether to hire employees, and make decisions such as whether you want to expand in the future or keep the size of your business small. You, personally, will be responsible for keeping track of income, paying expenses, and filing taxes. Common sense tells you what the advantages and disadvantages of a proprietorship are. In a proprietorship, you have the advantage of making your own decisions and spending as much or as little time as you want with the business. If the business is successful, you will be the reason. If it fails, you also will probably be the reason. Some of the disadvantages are very obvious. How many hours do you want to work each day or week? What happens to the business if you want to take a vacation? Will you have problems if you cannot supply all of your customers' needs? What problems may result if you are not a good record keeper? If your business fails and you owe suppliers, then you will personally be responsible to them. Because of some of the disadvantages I just mentioned, some people prefer to form a partnership. There are various forms of partnerships, but as business students, you need to understand what a basic or general partnership is. A partnership is a voluntary association between two or more people who carry on a business for the purpose of making a profit. For example, you and a friend decide you want to buy houses, fix them up and make repairs, and then resell them. If one of you has money to invest and the other has talent, such as construction experience, to invest, then you can form a partnership. If both of you have money to invest and no construction experience, then you can also form a partnership. If you both have construction experience but no money, then as a practical matter to make a partnership work, you better think about getting another partner, one with money. In a general partnership, the partners are expected to share the work equally or contribute equally in time spent in the business. Partners share profits and losses of the business, and they are equally responsible for expenses. Partnerships file informational tax returns, but the partners are taxed on the partnership's income as individuals. Sometimes people entering a partnership will prepare a partnership agreement or will have an attorney prepare a partnership agreement for them. But I have known people who have been in partnership for years without any kind of a written agreement. So, a partnership can be easy to form as a sole proprietorship, but it also has a potential for greater growth or loss. Also, as a practical matter, people may want to think about going into partnerships with friends. Sometimes, being in business with a friend can be the end of a friendship. A corporation is the third main type of business organization. One main advantage of a corporation is that its life is continuous. You all know that corporation owners are called shareholders, and that corporations have officers who run the company and boards of directors which make decisions in the best interests of the company. Another advantage of a corporate form of business is that there is limited liability. The owners or shareholders can only be liable for the company's losses up to the amount he or she has invested. So that is definitely an advantage for small investors. One of the main disadvantages of the corporate form is that there can be a greater taxation. But there are accounting decisions which can make the tax bite less. Remember, you are not yet owners, accountants, managers, attorneys, or corporate officers. At this point in time, you do not need to have a detailed understanding of any of the business forms I have discussed. What you do need to remember is the general information about each form, and know that when you become involved in a business and need help in understanding something, there are experts to whom you can turn.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer.
Number 1. What is the lecture mainly about? Number 2. In the lecture, the professor describes some characteristics of a corporation. Indicate whether each is a characteristic. Click in the correct box for each statement. Number 3. Why does the professor mention that many new businesses fail within the first 2 years? Number 4. According to the professor, what is one important characteristic of a sole proprietorship?
Listen again to part of the lecture, then answer the question.
Number 5. What does the professor mean when he says this?
Sometimes being in business with a friend can be the end of a friendship.
Listen again to part of the lecture, then answer the question.
What you do need to remember is the general information about each form, and know that when you become involved in a business and need help in understanding something, there are experts to whom you can turn.
Number 6. Why does the professor say this?
There are experts to whom you can turn.
Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a professor. The student's test scores and study method.
Good morning, Professor Smith.
Hello, Tom. You wanted to talk to me about your classwork?
Yes, I seem not to be doing as well in your class as I would like.
Well, let me take a look at the test scores I have recorded for you. Well, I see the first test score is not too bad. The next two, though, are lower. In fact, the third grade is failing.
I know. I'm doing worse on each test.
Well, it looks as though you are borderline right now. We have 2 more tests and then the final exam, so I am sure that with hard work you can pass the course. Tell me, how have you been studying for tests?
Well, I've been reading the material the night before the test.
Well, that's fine if you are rereading it, but you should be reading it every day before class so you understand the material. You know, in this class, every lesson builds on the other. Do you review your class notes before a test?
Well, a little, but I think the book's material is the most important.
Well, the text's material is important, but so is the material I lecture about. Many of the questions are taken from my lectures because I cover material that is in addition to what is in your textbook. So you should review your class notes each day after class to make sure you understand what we covered in class.
Well, I don't have too many class notes.
Well, I am beginning to see some things that you need to do to get a better understanding of the materials we are covering in this course. The first thing I suggest is to read each assignment before you come to class. This is a difficult course and may be one that you need to take notes as you read. Sometimes students can underline the text or highlight important parts, but perhaps in your case I would suggest writing down important ideas.
I guess I can try that method. Maybe if I write it down as I am reading, it will keep me more focused on the material.
Yes, I think it will. Also, try to come to class every time it meets and listen very carefully to what I am lecturing about. Take detailed notes on my lectures also. After class, go to the library or back home and recopy your notes. Then if you don't understand something that we discussed in class, call a friend who is in the class. If he or she can't help you understand the material or answer your question, then please call me or set up an appointment to meet with me. I will try to explain anything you do not understand.
Well, I am embarrassed when I don't understand things.
Tom, many first-year college students are embarrassed. In high school, they thought they knew everything the teacher was saying and never had to ask for help. Now that you are in college, professors expect students not to know everything that is being taught. You are here to learn new material, but professors also expect students to ask when they don't understand material. It is now your responsibility as a student to ask for help, and professors are very glad to help clear up matters students don't understand. Why don't we do this? Come to class this week. Take notes in class and rewrite them. Also read your text and take good notes. After the last class of the week, I will meet with you and we will review all of your work and your questions. Do you think that would help?
I don't have a class right after this one on Friday, so perhaps we could meet then.
That would be good for me too. You have come to me early enough in the semester to try to solve your study problems. If we need to meet more than once, I will be glad to. I want my students to learn. I am sure that once you learn the techniques of studying at the university level, you will improve your test scores and learn a great deal more.
Thank you for offering to help.
Glad to do it. See you Friday after class.
Thanks again.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer.
Number 7. Why does the student go to see his professor? Number 8. Why does the professor look for the student's grades? Number 9. Why has the student done poorly on the tests?
Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
Well, the text material is important, but so is the material I lecture about. Many of the questions are taken from my lectures because I cover material that is in addition to what is in your textbook.
Number 10. Why does the professor say this?
Well, the text's material is important, but so is the material I lecture about.
Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
If we need to meet more than once, I will be glad to. I want my students to learn.
Number 11. What can be inferred about the professor?